Hi everyone, my name is Jax, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the game Surviving the Aftermath, developed by Iceflake Studios, a division under Paradox Interactive. That's the same company that developed games like Stellaris, City Skylines, and the Europa Universalis series. At its core, the game is a city-building game, but it's also a survival game as well. In my opinion, it's a blend of both genres that gives a unique adventure that I've just never experienced before, but I continue to come back to. A word of warning, as you can see on the screen, this review is just the base game and does not include any of the DLC, so please keep that in mind. This game was released back in October of 2019 on the Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It is a single-player game with no multiplayer options. As the name says, it's part of the Paradox Interactive Surviving series like Surviving Mars and Surviving the Abyss. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic environment, where something has happened to the Earth and Moon that devastated the world. Without spoiling too much, there is a story that you unravel about the world and learn what happened. This game has you manage your colony where you must gather resources to keep your population alive, while also expanding your base to accept more people. Or maybe you might run into the situation where you have to turn people away because you simply lack the space and resources to take them in. Or perhaps you have deduced that they're nefarious in their intentions, and it's in your best interest to turn them away, lest they lead you to your downfall. There are tons of micro decisions in this game that can make or break your game. Let's go ahead and talk about gameplay for a bit. This game's all about city building, resource management, decision making, survival, and more. You'll find yourself designing your colony to flow smoothly and efficiently in order to make most of your settlers' time and energy. But you'll also be scouting your world maps in hopes of finding other towns to trade with. Or you might find a dilapidated building that holds precious resources like antibiotics to help fight infection, or even electrical components to help build some solar panels to power your base. And just as you're getting into the groove of things and thinking, you know what's going on, the game throws a curveball at you with random scenarios that will test what kind of leader you are. For example, your colonists might run into a beast that is pacing outside your colony. Do you take the fight to the beast? Do you shore up your defenses, or maybe try to trap it? All three decisions can have different impacts ranging from great to horrible. The game also spices things up with catastrophes. These are random events in the game ranging from long winter storms, which requires you to keep your people warm and make sure they don't get hypothermia. Or you can have a nuclear fallout that gives radiation sickness to your people, or perhaps even a magnetic storm that's going to absolutely destroy your electrical network. These catastrophes can make or break your game very easily if you are ill-prepared for such an event. There are also smaller events like lightning storms, space junk falling from the sky, or vermin attacking your food supply. These are not as detrimental, but they will still set you back if you're not equipped for them. The game does give you an ability to fight back against such things as well, so don't think you are unable to do anything about these catastrophes and setbacks. The game has hostile fauna that can attack your people, or bandits that will raid your camp. Make sure you take care of your base and people, otherwise people might not find you worthy of being a leader and might threaten to leave. You must balance keeping your people happy by making sure that their comfort levels are high and making decisions that they agree with. The real challenge is figuring out what they like and dislike, because sometimes the answer is not clear by any means. But fear not, this game gives you help in the form of sub-leaders or specialists. These specialists can perform specific tasks that no one else in your colony can do. Each of them has a backstory, and there are so many specialists that I haven't even seen all of them, even after playing for almost 100 hours. There are different types of specialists that all perform different types of tasks, and they can specialize in those certain tasks. You are limited on how many specialists you can have, so it is in your best interest to maximize your team's potential and characteristics to make sure they're well balanced for any and all encounters you might face. Later on in the game, you'll finally unlock the main storyline that allows you to delve into what actually caused this post-apocalyptic world. The lore of the story is interesting, as you uncover secrets about the past and why there's so many frequent catastrophes occurring, and why did the world go down such a devastating path. The game also has an in-depth technology tree that allows you to investigate 5 main nodes called food, infrastructure, resources, community, and safety. Each one allows you to further your colony in different ways possible. The real question is, what is the best path for the tech trees to make sure you're setting yourself up for success? It's up for you to decide what you think is best and to follow down those paths. go ahead and talk about graphics for a bit. Granted, you're viewing this video right now, and the graphics are pretty self-explanatory and quite honestly subjective. In my opinion, it's not a AAA title with the latest generation graphics, but it's still decent in my opinion. Zooming in can show some of the polygons and blockiness a bit, but it by no means takes away from the game itself. It's been roughly 4.5 years since its original release, but it still looks great today. Let's talk about games that are similar to this game. If you enjoyed games like Frostpunk, City Skylines, and Surviving Mars, this game might be for you. I found that this game was pretty similar to those games, and if you're into Paradox Interactive games, you'll most likely enjoy this game as well, as their games are pretty similar in how they operate and play. Let's go ahead and rate the game. For gameplay, I give this a 10 out of 10. I think it's a solid game. The gameplay is great. I love the mechanics of the game. I think the survival, city building aspect, colony management, it all flows and meshes really well together. And it's also really unique. I've never really played a game quite like this. It's a very unique game. For graphics, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Graphics are subjective, so this, again, is just my personal opinion, but I think the graphics could be a bit better, but they're not the worst. It's not like you're looking at a very terrible game. There are some moments in the game where it actually looks really nice, but for the most part, I would say it's a 7.5 out of 10. For storyline, I give this a 6.0 out of 10. And I want you to keep in mind that for a storyline for a city building game with colony management and survival, that's pretty good. Most city building games don't really have a story, and it's just endless building that you're trying to get to the next level for the city. So the fact that there is even a storyline on this game is pretty good in itself. I give this game a 10 out of 10, and the reason for that is I think it combines the genres that I'm really into one game, as well as having like a decent storyline. It's not just an endlessly building a colony, seeing how long you can last sort of thing. There's actual objectives that you can do, and you find new mechanics and you unlock new technology to help you with all that. So if I average all the scores, I get 8.375. But however, I do believe that this game should probably be, and this is just me feeling it, but I feel like the game should be a 9.0. Because the gameplay and fun factor that I get from this game, they kind of go over 10. And so, in my opinion, I think it should be at least a 9.0. I know graphics and storyline, all things considered, are still subjective, but 9.0 is where I stand with it. On the surface, the game might seem simple, but there's actually a lot of like hidden mechanics that you can really fine-tune, and you can make this game really challenging and also really fun at the same time. You know, you can min-max your efficiencies of your cities or colonies to have more efficient layouts, so people don't have to go as far to go sleep, or if you put foods in certain areas, or if you put hygiene stations in certain areas to ensure that people are more efficient where they work, or just using your specialists on the world map to gather those precious resources that you need. It just really all comes together and makes a really fun game. When you look at it holistically, like catastrophes and disasters and, finding other societies and trading with them and becoming allied, it's all really cool. But I also don't want to say any more, just because if you plan on trying out this game, there's a lot to discover, and it's really fun, and it happens very organically too. They do it really well. So I hope this review has shed some light for you and perhaps helping your decision on whether or not you want to try the game. And if you do end up trying the game and you need a bit more help, I actually have built a playlist of guides specifically for this game, where I did a start to finish on how to beat the game, as well as other mini guides like electricity guides, technology guides, ideology guide. So there's a lot. So go ahead and check that out if you are interested in that. And that's about it for this review. What did you think? Have you played this game before, or are you thinking about giving it a try now? Leave a comment down below. After all, this is just my opinion, so I'm curious to see what you think. As always, I appreciate you watching. I'd greatly appreciate a like, and perhaps even a subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Have a good one, and I'll see you.